Hi, I'm Sharon from Designs by Sharon Lee, and I want to show you my printer because I'm going to do a video on how I put my smaller one signature books together and what I use for a cover. This is an HP OfficeJet 4650. It's doing double-sided paper for me for the journal that I'm going to make for you, and I just wanted to show it to you. I use 26-pound paper from Staples because I like the sturdiness of the paper, the feel of the paper, and the way it takes the ink. So this is just the printing part of it. It is waiting now to, oh, I guess I'm done. It does flip the pages. It's double-sided. I do need to begin to, as you can see, I've got journal paper on one side, and I do need now to begin to trim the edges and to make it to the size I want it to be. So bye for now. I'm going to stop this video and go on to the cover. Hi, I'm back again. I just want to show you my computer has the digital papers that I need. I've made an album. I've made several albums, saved all my albums so that I can use the pages again. And as you can see, there's some of the books that I have made so far. And a little bit of a mess from I guess not a mess, but my drawers are open. But anyway, this is my tabletop. I am going to show you how I begin and how I make my covers for these books. Hi, it's Sharon from Design by Sharon Lee, and I wanted to show you how I put my books together for their 28 to 32 pages. And I wanted to show you how I did my covers. First of all, I use Canson watercolor paper, 140 pound. I love this paper because just quite by accident I needed a stiff cover for my books, and I discovered that this was extremely stiff, and I could use this for my books. So we'll set that aside. I have my one sheet. The next thing that I do is find my pages, and here they are, and I measure them so I know how I want to cut this piece of paper. So it measures 5 by 7.5. Okay, so I'm going to set them aside. These papers I printed on my printer, two-sided. These are just papers that a book that I had already put together earlier, and thought I'd do it again. Pretty papers. I think they're just a variety of some things that I had. So that's the center of the signature right there. Now I'm going to be putting envelopes and everything, but the first thing that I thought I'd show you, number one, is how I put this together. So this is 7.5 by 5. 7.5 by 5. This measures 12 by, I believe it's 9, and I'm correct, 5 by 9. So if my book is opened up as 10 inches, then I'm going to want to allow, I'd like to allow, maybe, I think I'll make it 11 inches. So I'm going to cut off an inch, and I'll get my cutter. And I'm cutting off an inch. And there's my inch. So now I have an 11 inch that way, and then it was 7.5, so I'm going to make it 8. There. Now, I also need to sandwich in, I want to put a cover on this and an inside cover on this. So I'm going to measure the same. I have chosen the paper from Tales, let's see, where is it? Tales of You and Me. Chose that paper. And this is going to be, I like the top, so I'm going to do 11 this way, 11 this way. The same exact measurement as my watercolor paper. And then this would be 8. And I want the flowers at the top or the bottom, so this is 8. Okay, so these two are the same. The inside page is going to be 11. By 8. There. So this sandwiches in like this. Everything matches. And the next thing that I'm going to do, is fold these papers first. If I glued them together, then tried to fold them, I would have one heck of a time folding this and having, I've done this, I'll tell you, I would have a terrible fold here. It bunches up, it's terrible. So I fold my papers first. So this one, this one is the inside. So I'm going to fold it this way first. Bring it down. And I don't have my bone folder with me at the table here. So I'm going to crease that with my fingernail. Okay. This is going to be folded in half too. Doesn't matter which side. Just matters that it's folded in half. As perfect as you can. Take my nail, push that down. Okay. And the same with this one. This is my tried and true way of making the cover for these books. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do, okay, get my trusty Eileen tacky glue. And I'm going to glue this really well. I'm going to make sure I get my edges and my corners. And I'm going to put glue, not a globby glue. This doesn't do globs. This just does little lines coming it this way. And I'm going to go over that fold. I'm going to take the top of that paper, hit the fold first, hit that fold, line it up, and bring it out. Let me get my bone folder. I like to have my bone folder with me. Here we go. Just make sure you're all lined up. And smooth it out. Smooth it out. And then I glue the other side. Yep, and this one open. Just like that, making sure you hit the corners. Fold it over the top. Line it all up. Making sure it's all together. And then I take my bone folder and smooth it out. Already I have a very sturdy cover, but I go one step further. I take my inside, the one that folds inside here, and I glue. And I glue the watercolor paper because sometimes they have a little overlap or underlap. I just want to make sure that the watercolor paper itself is nice and glued to the cardstock. I don't use anything thinner than than cardstock to cover my books because I want them to be lasting, sturdy. I don't think any book should take a beating, but these can take a pretty good beating. See how I've got that smoothed right in there, right together, making sure my ends are all glued in. And then I'm taking my bone folder again. Spreads that glue around a little bit in there too, you know. And I do the other side. Making sure all the edges are done, corners. You don't want it to come unglued, and I have never had a book come unglued with Aleene's. So use all the expensive glues you want, but this is the best to me. I don't know about anybody else. This works. This is great. And this is my go-to glue. There. That back on there. Fold the book. Bring it down. Bring it up. Making sure everything fits just nicely. Just tapping it down so everything's even. And as you know, when you do books, you get where you folded it, you get a little bit of a you see that right there? I don't know if you can see it, but you'll get a little bit of a when you fold the book, it pushes out that one page, just like these pages and this unit here that I'm going to put in. As you can see, they're not even because the book itself, when you fold it, pushes the pages out. So this is being pushed out. So what I do then is I cut it off. Or, you see this? I'm going to cut it off. Find my scissors here. Well, I don't have my scissors right here handy, but what I do have, I don't know if I want to do this one. I have my ruler, and I'll go along that edge with my trusty little knife, and I'll cut that off so it's nice and even. There. And that's the cover of the book. Now, what we do from there is, let's say I chose this. This is from Tsunami Rose. This says Women and Her Wits. This covers that book pretty much, doesn't it? So I think I'm going to use it because I like it. Doesn't mean that the whole book is about women and their wits, but it's about just some beautiful images. And as you can see, they're vintage. I love vintage, so I'm going to put vintage in it. Okay, this is the inside of the book. Okay. So it's the same with any book, is you sew it in. And let me get at this book a little bit longer, and then I'll come back and show you what more I've done with it. But that's how I do the cover, and you'll see how sturdy that is. I mean, you just, it's just about as, it's just like chipboard to me. But it's all decorated. So there you go. That's the cover of the book.